Once upon a time, in a busy city filled with noise and hurry, there lived a 27-year-old young man named Alex. Alex was always starting things but never finishing them. He would begin a painting, then switch to writing. He would start writing, then jump to music. His mind was like a browser with 100 tabs open, always switching, never settling. Every night, he looked at his unfinished projects and felt empty. "Why can't I focus?" he would ask himself. "Why does my mind always race to the next thing?" His thoughts moved so fast that he forgot to breathe properly. Sometimes he would hold his breath without realizing it. Other times he would breathe in short, anxious gasps. One day, Alex heard about a mysterious painter who lived in a small village in the mountains. People said this painter created the most beautiful art in the world, even though his hands trembled from an illness. They said he could teach anyone to find stillness, even in a restless mind. Alex became curious and hopeful. He thought, maybe this painter can teach me how to finish what I start. Maybe he can help me find peace. So he packed a small bag and began his journey. After 2 days of traveling through winding mountain roads, Alex finally reached the village. It was small and quiet, surrounded by bamboo forests and morning mist. He asked the villagers, "Where can I find the painter?" They pointed to a simple wooden studio at the edge of the village, near a flowing stream. When Alex arrived, he saw an elderly man sitting on the porch. The man had kind eyes and silver hair. His hands rested on his knees, and Alex noticed they were shaking slightly, a gentle tremor like leaves in the wind. On the porch were beautiful paintings, flowing lines of ink on rice paper, each one simple yet stunning. Mountains, bamboo, birds in flight, all created with single, continuous strokes. Alex bowed respectfully and said, "Master, my mind never rests. I start many things but finish nothing. I heard you can teach people to find stillness. Can you help me?" The old painter looked at Alex with gentle eyes and smiled softly. "Stillness is not something I can give you," he said. "It is already inside you, but I can show you where to find it." He stood up slowly and said, "Come with me, I will give you a task." The painter led Alex into his studio. The room was simple and clean. Sunlight came through paper windows. There was a low wooden table with ink, brushes, and white rice paper. The painter placed a single sheet of rice paper in front of Alex. Then he handed him a brush and dipped it in black ink. "The task is simple," the painter said. "You will create one stroke on this paper." Alex looked confused. "Just one stroke? That's easy." The painter raised his hand gently. "But there is a rule. You must paint this stroke in one single breath." "One breath?" Alex asked. "Yes," the painter nodded. "You will place your brush on the paper and begin to exhale, slowly and completely. While you breathe out, you will move the brush across the paper. You cannot pause. You cannot lift the brush. You cannot take another breath until the stroke is finished." He continued, "One breath, one stroke, no stopping, no thinking, no controlling." Alex looked at the paper. It seemed simple enough. "You may begin whenever you are ready," the painter said, and he sat down quietly to watch. Alex sat down and held the brush. He placed it on the paper and began to exhale. But immediately his mind started racing. Which direction should I go? How fast should I move? What if I make a mistake? What if I run out of breath? Within 3 seconds, he held his breath without realizing it. His hand froze. The stroke became stiff and jagged. He gasped for air, and the brush jerked across the paper, leaving an ugly, broken line. Alex looked at the ruined paper and felt frustrated. The painter said nothing. He simply placed a fresh sheet of paper in front of Alex. "Try again," he said gently. Alex took a deep breath and tried again. This time he decided to control everything. He planned the stroke in his mind first. He calculated how long his breath would last. He tried to move the brush at exactly the right speed. He exhaled and began painting. But because he was trying so hard to control his breath, it became unnatural. He tensed up. His shoulders tightened. His hand became rigid. Halfway through the stroke, he ran out of air. He panicked and gasped, and the brush skidded across the paper in a harsh line. Another failure. Alex put down the brush, breathing heavily. He felt defeated. "I can't do this," he said. "I'm trying my best, but I keep failing." The painter looked at him with kind eyes and said, "You are not failing. You are fighting." Alex looked up, confused. "You are fighting your breath," the painter explained. "You are trying to control it, stretch it, hold it, shape it. But breath is not something you control. Breath is something you allow." The painter stood up and dipped his own brush in ink. His hands were shaking, but his face was calm. "Watch," he said. He placed the brush on the paper, and then he simply breathed out. His hand moved naturally, following the rhythm of his breath. The line flowed across the paper like water, like wind, like a river finding its path. Even though his hand trembled, the stroke was beautiful, alive, organic, full of grace. When his breath ended, the stroke ended. Perfect timing, no force, no control, just flow. Alex stared in amazement. "Your breath was always there," the painter said softly. "You were born breathing. You will die breathing. Between birth and death, you breathe 20,000 times a day without trying. But the moment you try to control it, you lose it." He placed another sheet of paper in front of Alex. "This time," he said, "do not paint. Just breathe. Let the brush follow your breath, not your mind." Alex sat down again. This time he closed his eyes for a moment. He let go of the outcome. He let go of perfection. He let go of control. He simply noticed his breath, the natural rise and fall, the rhythm that had been there all along. Then he opened his eyes, placed the brush on the paper, and began to exhale. This time, he didn't think. His hand moved naturally, guided not by his mind, but by the gentle current of his breath. The stroke flowed across the paper, smooth, alive, effortless. There were small trembles in the line, imperfections, but they were beautiful, they were real, they were him. When his breath naturally ended, the stroke naturally ended. Alex lifted the brush and stared at the paper. For the first time in years, he had finished something. Not by forcing it, not by controlling it, but by allowing it. Tears filled his eyes. The old painter placed a gentle hand on Alex's shoulder. "Now you understand," he said. "Life is like this stroke. You cannot force it. You cannot hold it. You cannot pause it or control it. Life flows naturally, just like your breath." He pointed to the painting. "When you try to control everything, you create struggle. When you allow things to flow naturally, you create beauty." Alex looked at the stroke he had created. Imperfect, but complete. "Your mind races because you keep trying to control the next moment," the painter continued. "But the next moment will come whether you control it or not. The only moment you can truly touch is this one, right now, with this breath." Alex nodded slowly, understanding blooming in his heart. "Every breath is a new beginning," the painter said. "Every exhale is a letting go. When you learn to follow your breath, you learn to follow life itself." Alex stayed with the painter for 3 more days. Every morning he practiced one stroke, one breath, nothing more. Slowly his mind began to quiet, his body began to relax. He learned to finish what he started, not by forcing, but by breathing through it. On the 4th day, Alex bowed deeply to the old painter and began his journey home. But he was not the same restless young man who had arrived. He had changed. Now, whenever his mind started racing, he would pause, place his hand on his chest, and simply breathe. He learned that presence is not about controlling your thoughts, it's about returning to your breath, again and again, gently, like coming home. And in that simple rhythm, in and out, rise and fall, he finally found the peace he had been searching for. The breath you are taking right now is the only moment you truly have. Not the breath you took a moment ago, not the breath you will take in the future. This one, right here, right now. And that is enough. Every story is like a single breath. And you just shared this one with us. If it touched your heart, let it flow to others. Share this story. Subscribe to the Scene-Crafted Tales to continue this journey of mindful storytelling. Leave a like if this reminded you to pause, and tell us in the comments what brings you back to the present moment. One breath at a time, one story at a time, we find our way home. Thank you for breathing with us.